Um, when you do all of this offering, so you offer fire, you basically offering the elements, fire, water,
Yes.
air,
Uh-huh.
water, what's the first thing? The flower? The flower.
Smell.
Yeah, the scent.
The scent, yes. There are different ways it's presented. Sometimes that's one way, and in another way it's represented. This is artik is like a greeting, a reception for someone in a sense. So reception means you're offering, such as like someone who came in, a respectable person came into your home, you devotee, uh, you may offer them, well, him, maybe so you give a cloth, like a dhoti or something. And if it's a woman, maybe you give a sari. So the cloth, that's like the handkerchief, for example. The the water represents it. I forget the name of it, uh, but it's a nice. It's representative of a nice drink. It's made with.
Amrita?
Amrita. It's made with ghee and sugar. I have to check now. It's representative of something very tasty that you might offer to a respectable guest. But in the Arctic ceremony, we don't offer like that. We offer as water. It's the same idea. And the flower, of course, is nice for smelling. The chamara fan, Srila Prabhupada says, is actually for whisking flies away. That's what it's for. Peacock fan is actually for the breeze mostly, and it's only used in the summertime when it gets warm. In the winter, we don't use the peacock fan. We're starting to use it again, like that. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Ballava Giridharidhari Gopi Jana Ballava Giridharidhari Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Ballava Giridharidhari Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So today it's Friday. So we are reading from Srila Prabhupada Nectar book. Anyone who might be watching outside, online, if you're actually looking at the book, where it would be on page 368, number 18. Realizations. Prabhupada never showed any odd moment. Prabhupada never showed any odd moment that was not in his character. The more we realize it, the more we benefit. I was with Prabhupada in Toronto. Oh, this is written by Satsvarup Maharaj, by the way. I was with Prabhupada in Toronto. He was preaching to some professors, and then the devotees brought in a big opulent plate of prasadam for him. Prabhupada looked at it, and almost under his breath he said, "I have no teeth, and I have no appetite." Srila Prabhupada could not take prasadam due to his condition, yet he was fully tasting the mellows of Krishna consciousness. Despite the inconvenience he was preaching, he did not say, "I cannot eat, so I am going to lie down. A nurse and a doctor should be there, and I'll just worry." Under his breath, Prabhupada may say, "I cannot eat," but he's preaching to the professors. So Srila Prabhupada, his whole thing was just giving Krishna consciousness to others. So even when Srila Prabhupada was so sick that he couldn't eat, still he would somehow or other be there and preach to whoever wanted to hear. Even if he said, even if he was saying, "I don't want visitors," but somehow somebody showed up, then he would say, "Oh, come on in," and he would speak with them to try to give them some Krishna consciousness. So the next one, which is written by Bahudak Das. Prabhupada's qualities are so real that a person can develop great respect for him just by seeing his picture and hearing his lectures. When I joined the movement, my parents were extremely upset. My father had a very big position in the civil government, and we used to chant near the Parliament building where he worked. Victoria is a very small town, and to be a man of importance and to have your own son out in the streets in bed sheets was very difficult. So my parents opposed. I used to send them back to Godhead magazines, however, and just by looking at the magazines, they both developed a great respect for Srila Prabhupada. When Prabhupada became sick, they showed real concern and asked, "How's Prabhupada?" Just by seeing Prabhupada's picture and reading his articles, they came to realize that he was a very saintly person. Prabhupada was such a saint that anyone who would be exposed to him, even if they were at first inimical, would actually develop some faith that he was at least a great man. Next. Trivikram Swami had been serving in the Far East for 4 years, and he wanted to return to America to preach. He approached Prabhupada in Mayapur and told him of his desire. But Prabhupada only said, "I have so many preachers in America." Trivikram took this as a sign that Prabhupada wanted him to remain in the Far East, and he began approaching people to help him open a center in Korea. Then Gopal Krishna, the GBC for India, came to him and said, "Prabhupada wants you to stay and help manage Mayapur." Trivikram Swami told Gopal Krishna that he had already had his ticket and that he was not going to stay. The next day, Trivikram Swami visited Prabhupada in his room, and Gopal Krishna was there. Prabhupada Trivikram Swami said he's not going to stay in Mayapur like he wanted. Gopal Krishna said. Prabhupada then asked Trivikram Swami why. And Trivikram began offering excuses. After hearing his excuses, Prabhupada told him that although our philosophy was plain living and high thinking, Trivikram Swami was addicted to the cities, so wouldn't agree to stay in the country. Trivikram Swami then made another excuse, and Prabhupada again chastised him. He said that as a sannyasi, Trivikram Swami had given up everything but his whim. He was so whimsical. Then Trivikram offered another excuse. He said that although he had been a sannyasi for 5 years, he had not had a chance to preach in English. Trivikram Swami asked how he could preach in Bengal since he didn't speak Bengali. "Oh," Prabhupada said, "you've been a sannyasi for 5 years and you haven't had a chance to preach? So what makes you think you know how to preach?" Trivikram Swami then realized that without Prabhupada's mercy, he would not know how to preach. Then he surrendered and felt spiritual strength. Yes, we can't do anything without Srila Prabhupada's blessings. 19. While working with Prabhupada in India, Tamal Krishna Goswami had many opportunities to see how Prabhupada conducted himself while interacting with the material world. Prabhupada was the first preacher of Krishna consciousness in the modern age to travel around the world, engaging the material energy in Krishna's service. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said that only a Vaishnava is ideally suited to ride in cars and to use large buildings for spreading Krishna consciousness. And Srila Prabhupada set a perfect example of using such things without attachment. Prabhupada wanted the Vaishnavas to be appreciated, and in his own sweet and innocent way, he was proud of the material facility which came to him for spreading Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada would sometimes speak with great pride over the fact that as an author, publisher, and businessman, he had received $50,000 credit with the Dai Nippon Printing Company of Japan after making a down payment of only $5,000. He also expressed transcendental pride in his Bank of America credit card, which enabled him to withdraw $100 from banks and other businesses simply by showing the card. Prabhupada was so proud of his green card, which allowed him to remain in the United States for as long as he wanted. Prabhupada would sometimes show his Bank of America credit card and his green card to like members in India. He took pride in these preaching facilities, which he received on the merit of his good character and his established position. So, So Srila Prabhupada liked. No, this is real pride. We should not be proud of something based on false ego, but we can be proud that I have a chance to engage in the Krishna service. We can be proud that Krishna has, because I'm engaged in his service, he's given me certain facility to use in Krishna service. Uh, you know, we don't become proud because I'm thinking that I'm so great that I'm, you know, that I'm be falsely proud that I am so great. Maybe we're not. But if because we are engaged in Krishna service, if Krishna gives us some facility, then as Krishna's representative, then we should, you know, just like we have, just like here, we have this nice temple, nice big temple, marble floor, beautiful altar, carved out of marble, and the beautiful deities. There's so much facility here. So Krishna has sent all these things in reciprocation for our endeavors here to preach Krishna consciousness for many years, like that. So Srila Prabhupada would get certain facility because of his preaching, and he was happy and proud to be able to show. See, we were serving Krishna, and Krishna sending this to help us to serve him more. That's what it's about. Number 20, Prabhupada tells a story on the subject of dealing with Indians. Prabhupada was once speaking to his disciples about bogus yogis. He named 4 prominent Mayavadi gurus and noted that each one of them was a Bengali. He said that they had ruined the whole world with their philosophy, but that there was another Bengali who would destroy them. The devotees began to laugh, and Prabhupada told his story. An axe was talking to a tree. An axe. You understand axe? It's a cutting instrument. As you chop down a tree with. An axe was talking to a tree. I will cut you down, said the tree. I will cut you down. An axe was talking to a tree. I will cut you down, said the tree. I think that means if he says axe. No, you cannot do that, said the tree. But I am very sharp, the axe answered. You cannot do anything unless I first give you one of my branches for a handle. The tree said. Then Prabhupada began to laugh. He asked his disciples if they understood, but no one did. So Prabhupada gave an explanation. He said that although they were very intelligent American boys and girls, they could not cut down the Bengalis. He said that only if another Bengali helped them could they defeat the rascal Bengalis. That means Srila Prabhupada. On another occasion, Prabhupada told his Indian listeners not to be like those Indians who are quick to say, I know Krishna, I know Krishna. Then he told a story. There was once a man who every day brought water to the temple of Lord Jagannath. The man used to think, I don't need to see Lord Jagannath. I come here every day so I can see him anytime I want. Let the others see him. Day after day went by, but the man never went to see Lord Jagannath. Finally, the man died without once seeing the Lord. Prabhupada then instructed his Indian audience to learn from his disciples how to serve Krishna. Understand?
So he brought the water, but he never entered?
Yeah, the point is, if you're in India, you're right there. You have so many temples.
Yes.
You have all this facility. You can see Jagannath in this story. But if someone is living there and thinking, I can see Lord Jagannath anytime.
Yeah,
So you don't go. You don't go. Okay, next week, next month, maybe anytime I can go. But then you end up not going, and someone else who lives far away, with a lot of endeavor, they come and they see, and they. So Srila Prabhupada was pointing that out, that we are his disciples. Will come all the way to India and so many other places in the world to preach Krishna consciousness. We don't say that there's a temple, it can easily go here, so therefore there's not so important. We make that big endeavor to go somewhere like to travel to Mayapur, to travel to Vrindavan, and those who live there, maybe you don't actually say, I can go anytime. All I have to do is walk out to the house and go there, So like that. So Srila Prabhupada was telling them who live there, follow the good example of my disciples who are making a big endeavor to come and see Krishna and to serve Krishna and to engage in devotional service. That's the point here. Once some of the Indian guests of the London temple formed a club of their own, and they would hold programs in the Berry Place temple and present gifts to the deities. A lady who was a member of the club once complained to Prabhupada about some of the club members' dealings with her. Prabhupada became angry. He called Prabhavishnu Swami, the temple president, and severely reprimanded him for allowing the club to exist. He told Prabhavishnu Swami that the club must be disbanded at once, and he stressed that only the most qualified devotees should be allowed to speak in the temple.
So it's just not qualified devotees to form the club.
Yeah, it's just like if we have our congregation here, Hindu congregation, and we just say, okay, the temple's open, and then they formed, in this case, they formed their own club, and they came and they were preaching Krishna consciousness in the temple, but they were not giving proper philosophy. They were not teaching properly. So Srila Prabhupada said, no, in our temples, only qualified devotees should speak the philosophy in our temples. What they do outside is another thing, but in our temples, we can't. Our temple, what is spoken in our temples, who gives the classes, is representative. It's supposed to be representative of this movement. So somebody Srila Prabhupada didn't like that others who were not qualified, not knowledgeable in the philosophy and so on, that they were coming and they were doing things like that and speaking the philosophy themselves, because they didn't actually understand the philosophy. So they were just opening the temple for their facility, giving them the facility to do what they want, and they were not doing something which was in accordance with what Srila Prabhupada wanted done in his temples, like that. So he wanted it stopped. Number 21, Prabhupada tells short stories. Prabhupada once told a story showing how Vedic education satisfies. 300 years ago, there lived a very staunch but very poor Brahmana in Krishnanagar, near Mayapur. The king, Raj Krishnachandra, heard of the learned Brahmana, and he wanted to visit him. Brahmana, the king said, can I help you in any way? No, I don't require any help from you, the Brahmana answered. But I can see you are so poverty-stricken, the king said. No, said the Brahmana, I am not poverty-stricken. My students bag some rice, which my wife boils, and there is a tamarind tree, so I take some leaves and boil them. I am not poverty-stricken. Prabhupada then explained that one who knows Brahman is satisfied. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma. He said that a Brahmana is satisfied with whatever comes to him, and he said that formerly this independence from material desire was very much valued. Modern education, however, kills this independence. Prabhupada said that high technology means that people must depend upon machines for their livelihood, so they suffer. Yeah.
He was so right. He said that 50 years ago, right?
Yes, at least. Yes, that was true. So, yeah, so Brahman, to be actual Brahminical quality means you're internally you're satisfied. You're satisfied. I'm just engaged in chanting Hare Krishna. I'm engaged in some devotional service. This is what satisfies me, and the actual bodily maintenance, it doesn't require that much. Eat a little rice. He said that rice, a little tamarind, like that. It doesn't take very much. When we become very sophisticated and we have many other desires, external desires, then we depend on so many situations, and then we become what do you say, servant to it, servant to the material society. In Vedic times, the Brahmanas especially they're independent. They were not even really under the control of the king, because they were self-disciplined. They were satisfied, and they actually advised the kings how to rule the people. That was the system. But they're very satisfied. So Srila Prabhupada says that in the past, to have that quality of being internally satisfied and to not be materialistic, because you're trying to get so many things to satisfy your senses outside, that was considered a very good quality. So another story. Prabhupada once told a story about word jugglery. Long ago, a student appeared for his big examination. One of the questions was about the reign of Hardwar Basta. The student did not remember anything about this person, but to pass his time, he began to manufacture words. Hardwar Basta was a Dobendi lactalized by the Plactony of Tinda. In this way, the student filled up the whole paper. The examiner saw that the boy was simply manufacturing words, but understanding this required a little intelligence. He gave the boy a passing mark. The examiner saw that the boy had simply manufactured words, but understanding that this required a little intelligence, he gave the boy a passing mark. In a similar way, many books are published that are manufactured only out of nonsense, but because it takes a little intelligence to juggle the words, those books are considered valuable. Next one, number 22. Prabhupada said on the subject of eating, you should not eat the whole thing. You should eat half, and 1/4 you shall fill up with water, and 1/4 you should have vacant, so that there may be ventilation and your digestion will be easily done. This is Ayurvedic law. Even if you think that you can eat so much, you should not voluntarily eat so much. You should eat half. And 1/4 you should fill with water, and 1/4 you should keep vacant for air ventilation. Then there will be no disease. It is a hygienic principle. As soon as you eat more than what you can digest, you become diseased. It's not clear how, but I understand what it's talking about. The stomach is of this size, not like this, a normal stomach. So the idea is we eat, if our stomach is that size, then we fill our stomach half, this much, with food, prasadam, and then about half of this with water, and then the rest of it is air, so there's some they can move around and digest. And if we do like that, then we will not overeat. And if we don't overeat, if our digestion is good, in Ayurvedic medicine, if somebody is sick, the doctor, first thing he does is to try to, by their method, Ayurvedic method, is to try to determine what is wrong with your digestion. Most everything has to do something with digestion. So they try to figure out what is wrong with your digestion. Why are you not digesting properly? You have to change your diet, or do you have some internal problem? You need to take some medicine. You have to change your diet. But that's that's the point here. Your stomach is this big, and you don't eat this much, and then wash it all down with that so much more water or something, and then expect that you're going to feel great because it's not going to digest properly. So Srila Prabhupada he himself ate small at one time, but because he was digesting, then he always had energy. So another one. Prabhupada once asked Harisari Das about his health. Harisari said he had been cutting down on his eating. In Australia, you are reducing? Prabhupada asked. If there is hunger, you should eat. Harisari then told Prabhupada how he had read in the 7th canto that if someone is serious about spiritual life, he will eat only once a day. Prabhupada's movement changed. Oh, that is good. Yes, by not eating, one becomes weak but does not die. One dies by eating, but by not eating, one does not die. Like me, I am not eating, but I am not dying. Prabhupada, I'm not sure when that was, but Prabhupada, anyway, he didn't eat a whole lot anyway. So yeah, so Prabhupada would eat small, but he was, he saw his schedule. He was up traveling to a new place. Usually every 3 days he was on the plane traveling to a new country or to a new city somewhere. But so he ate and had energy to do these things. So going on, also on the subject of eating, once in Hyderabad, Prabhupada and some of his disciples visited the home of a wealthy gentleman from Gujarat. While there, the devotees were served sumptuous prasadam, which they relished enthusiastically. In the middle of the meal, Prabhupada said, "This is how prasadam should be, so good that even if you're not hungry, you'll eat it. Not that even if you're hungry, you can't eat it. Even if you're not hungry, you want to eat it because it's so nice. And rather than that, even if you are hungry, you're not able to eat it." And that's the point. Jai Shri Shri Gauranitai, Shri Shri Radha Braja Bihari, Jagannath, Balaram, Mani Subhadra, Veda Shri Giri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. Once in Madras, Harikesh Swami and Shravananda Das made chapatis for Prabhupada. As a chapati would come off the fire, Harikesh Swami would rush from the kitchen to Srila Prabhupada. The first time he did this, Prabhupada rejected the chapati, saying it was not hot. Harikesh Swami and Shravananda then rushed back to the kitchen to heat up another chapati. Harikesh Swami took the chapati off the fire, again ran the short distance to Prabhupada's room, and dropped the chapati on Prabhupada's plate. Prabhupada asked what was wrong with him, that they could not bring it hot. Once more, the devotees ran to the kitchen. Just as the chapati puffed up on the fire, Harikesh Swami sprinted to Prabhupada's room and put the chapati on his plate. Prabhupada pulled the chapati apart, and as he did, some steam escaped from the air into the air. Yes, Prabhupada said, this is a chapati. Chapati means hot. Yeah. You know what chapatis are, right? Yeah. Okay. So yes, they should be served hot. Even if we make them, we don't always make for the deities, but if we do make them, it should be made hot. At least when we put them on the deities' plates, it should be hot. And that's the standard. Another step on prasadam and health in Miami. Oh, look at this. In Miami, this is a letter that was sent to the temple president in Miami in 1976. In Miami, there are so many mangoes and coconuts. I'm enjoying the Dobbs from Florida. The orange ones especially are very nice. I am taking one each day. From the green mangoes, you can make pickles. Cut them into pieces with skin intact, sprinkle with salt and turmeric, dry them well in the sunshine, and put into mustard oil. They'll keep for years, and you can enjoy with eating. They are nice and soft and good for digestion. If no vegetable is available, you can eat them with puris. Similar with pickled chilies. When mango pickles and chili pickles are combined, it is very tasteful. The Miami temple sounds to be very nice, with bathing place and peacocks, just like Vrindavan. Krishna will supply you everything, don't worry, just work sincerely. Oh. Yes, when Srila Prabhupada wrote that, we were in a different location. We weren't here. This was 40 years ago, 50 years ago. 1976, the letter was written. 50 years or so, okay, ago. Anyway, at that time, our temple was, we had about 7 or so acres of land. It was much bigger property. We didn't have a big temple building, so it was small, but we had land. And there were 50 mango trees on that land. And there were coconut trees around too, and I think avocado trees also. 10 avocado trees, 50 mango trees of various varieties, and other things too. So, and Srila Prabhupada specifically liked the yellow coconuts. There's usually we see the green, but there's another variety that are yellow. And the juice in them, the coconut water, is very sweet. So that's what Srila Prabhupada is referring to here. The sweet yellow coconuts, the golden ones. When Srila Prabhupada came to Miami Temple, that was in 1975. So, which must have been right before we were at that particular place. Somebody gave him a straw, actually a straw made out of gold. So he put it in the coconut to drink the juice. So he he pushed it into the coconut, and but then of course no juice comes out because it's got filled with coconut pulp. So then he just picked it up and poured it like that. He drank the juice. But he very much liked those, and he took some with him when he went traveling to the next place, which was at the Atlanta Temple. Also, when Srila Prabhupada did visit the Miami Temple in 1975, our deities had been installed, our Gaura-Nitai deities had been installed the year before. Srila Prabhupada authorized it, but he wasn't the one, he didn't perform the ceremony. So when he arrived in the Miami Temple, he passed into the temple. To pass into the temple, first of all, you had to pass through the. We had a room there for Tulasi Devi. We didn't have a lot of Tulasi plants, but they were big. They were like trees. Branches are like this big around, and big pots like this. So he passed through that room, was impressed with Tulasi Devi, and he walked into the temple room and he saw Gaura-Nitai there. He said, "Oh, I see Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda have come here." He spoke like that. He recognized it, he appreciated it. And then those mango pickles, sometime in 1976, sometime that year or the following year, I actually made those pickles according to this recipe. And we sent them to Srila Prabhupada, wherever he was at that time. I never heard of him. I think his health was not great at the time. I don't even know if the devotees actually gave him the pickles, but we made them, and it's like Srila Prabhupada said, when they're ready, they'll be soft and sweet. They actually were very tasty. If we get a little help maybe this year, we can actually do them again. It's been so many. It was very simple recipe. You take the mango, take the green mangoes. They have to be green, and you cut them up in pieces like this. Lay the skin on them. Put them out in the sun, and they start drying up a little bit. He said thoroughly dried. And then you put them out there, sprinkle some salt and some turmeric on them, and let them dry. They dry up a little bit, and then you put them in a bottle of mustard oil. And after, I think, a few months setting there, these are pickles, so they have to sit for a while. After a few months, they became they became soft, and then he said soft and sweet. They're very nice. We also offered to the deities at the time. So every year I think, okay, this year we're going to make, but I never get around to it. So if somebody was to help this year, maybe when the mangoes start coming out before they get ripe, we can make some according to Srila Prabhupada's recipe. Another point here, another paragraph. If a man works, then he can digest stones. Good digestion, he can digest stones. Prabhupada once said that he who cannot sleep immediately upon resting and who passes stool immediately upon eating will soon be called by Yamaraj. But if he passes stool before eating and urine after, a physician cannot earn a living from him. Prabhupada once asked about the health of the new Vrindavan community's horse. A disciple said that the horse was sick. Prabhupada told the devotees to feed the horse chickpeas. He said that chickpeas are very good for horses and make them strong. Srila is knowledgeable about so many things. Yeah, so the paragraph I just read before that. If you cannot sleep immediately upon resting, one who cannot sleep immediately upon resting and who passes stool immediately after eating will soon be called by Yamaraj, means you're going to die. So we actually should regulate our eating so we eat and well, we don't have to go to the bathroom immediately after eating. It's better. You kind of like you lose the nutritional benefit by passing out immediately after eating. You have to wait for some time. So, but if we eat properly and we are regulated, then we eat, and then later in the day, or I guess ideally first thing in the morning, then we pass out, pass stool, and then that's health-wise, that's the best thing. And if we're, and I should probably was saying, if we have only one meal or one main meal in a day, then it's possible. If we're eating, big meals 3 times a day, then we might it could become hard. Of course, when I joined the movement, we were serving prashadam 3 times a day, and it was purifying. So we ate a lot. But ultimately, we found that it was best to, a little here, and then maybe one main meal in the middle of the day when the digestion is good. And Srila Prabhupada, even certain fruits, Srila Prabhupada would not eat in the early morning because digestion was not strong, like mangoes. He liked mangoes, but he would not eat mangoes in the morning out. He would not eat mangoes for breakfast because he said they're too heavy, too hard to digest. But Srila Prabhupada's body was older. For us, maybe it doesn't matter, but Srila Prabhupada, his personal preference, he would not take that kind of fruit in the morning. Number 23. Read a couple more pages here. Pictures of Mayapur, or little drops of nectar. And then pictures of Mayapur is the heading. Every year in Mayapur, the devotees cut sugarcane, press and cook down the juice, and press it into gore. One year, the sugarcane was stacked outside the kitchen near the Grihastha ashram. Many of the boys and girls from the Gurukula would come and take pieces of sugarcane, chew them, and spit the pulp here and there. On one occasion, these spittings had been swept into a pile and left near the stack of unoffered sugarcane. Prabhupada saw the pile of spittings and began chastising the devotees, most of whom were Bengalis. He told them that although they called themselves Hindus, they had come to the temple just to go to hell. He asked them what had become of their culture, that they would leave spittings near Krishna's boga. As Prabhupada chastised the devotees, a 2-year-old toddler came walking by eating a piece of sugarcane, or came by walking by eating a piece of sugarcane. Seeing this, a 60-year-old Bengali devotee grabbed the sugarcane from the child's hand and chastised the child, who immediately began to cry. Prabhupada said, Ustadi Boka, although your eyes are blind, you are now the coach. Understand? He's chastising the devotees, the Bengali devotees. Okay, you're taking sugar cane. Sugar cane is on a pulp, and there's the juice inside. So you chew on the sugar cane, suck out the juice, but you can't eat the pulp. So then you spit it out somewhere. So they're spitting it out, and what they're spitting out, the pulp, was left near the sugarcane stalks that had not been offered to Krishna yet. So it's just like going and chewing up some prasadam that you can't chew all the way, and then spitting out in Krishna's pot that you're going to cook his offering in. Similar to that, you can't do that. So Srila Prabhupada was chastising those devotees for doing like that, and then with a little child who wouldn't know one way or the other was walking along chewing on the sugar cane, then one of those devotees who were just chastised come and take it away, and he says so Srila Prabhupada says, although your eyes are blind, you don't know what to do, but you are now the coach. He's being sarcastic. You do not know what to do, and yet you're trying to teach somebody else what to do. Right? That's the point. In Mayapur, dacoits would attack the temple. They would take some explosive, roll it into a ball, along with scraps of iron, and wrap it up with jute twine. The completed bomb was the size of a baseball and could remove a limb or kill someone. One night, while Prabhupada was staying in the Mayapur temple, the dacoits attacked, throwing many homemade bombs. No one was hurt, but the next day Prabhupada wanted a report. Jayapataka Swami told Prabhupada that some shrapnel had been left by the bombs, and he explained the situation. Prabhupada told him to get some guns, and he told a story about Narada Muni. Shrapnel, you know what that is? Shrapnel, it means like I'm not sure what they use, but pieces of iron, nails, things like that, they mix in with the bomb. And that when it explodes, it goes flying everywhere, and it hurts people. So some of that was found around. So now, Narada, here's a story that Srila Prabhupada told about Narada Muni, the great sage Narada Muni that flies all over the universe preaching. Narada Muni once had a cobra as a disciple. He had many disciples. So he had a snake as a disciple. After the snake became Narada's disciple, he gave up his dangerous habits. Knowing this, the village children would harass him with sticks. The snake became distraught. Narada asked the snake what was wrong, and the cobra explained his difficulty. Narada then told the snake that whenever the children came to harass him, he should expand his hood and raise his head up as if prepared to strike. He said the sight of this would scare the children away. Prabhupada then instructed Jayapataka Swami to take guns and frequently fire them into the air to scare off the dacoits. The devotees acquired 2 guns, and they divided themselves up into crews to stand guard at night. Sometimes Prabhupada would be up late at night translating, and he would go out with a flashlight to inspect the guards. One time Prabhupada shined his flashlight into Shatadanya Swami's face. Shatadanya Swami had been eating chapatis with gore. Prabhupada asked him what he was doing, and Shatadanya Swami explained that he had gone out all day and that the devotees had saved him something to eat. Prabhupada told him to be alert. Later that night, Shatadanya Swami was patrolling with his flashlight. He somehow sensed that there was someone hiding under a stairway. He crouched down and shined his flashlight under the steps, and there was Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Chaitanya Swami explained, and offered his obeisances. I was just checking on you, Prabhupada said. So Srila Prabhupada said, you be careful, be alert. So he was watching to be sure that they're being alert. In Vrindavan, this is Mayapur, but in Vrindavan too. Been to Vrindavan? Krishna. So so in Vrindavan there are, the temple has bells, being a big bell out in front, and the system was that during the night, at every hour or something, the guard has to ring the bell, clang, which is to let someone know, or let the devotees know that the guard is there on post. They had to ring the bell so it's known. And Srila Prabhupada would be up because he would be translating during the night, and he would be watching and he'd be listening. And if the time came, the hour came, and there was no bell, he would be calling the temple president the next morning and saying, "Your guard is not doing his job. I did not hear the bell last night." So that was the system. There was a system to make sure that the guards they had to be there on post at a certain time to ring the bell. Otherwise, they might be sleeping all night, and nobody would know. So by ringing the bell, you knew that they were there doing their job. Maybe I should stop here. Are there any questions? Comments? No? No? Okay. Here is maybe Smriti asked one. Were the tulasi trees in pots or in the ground? Can we plant the tree in the ground? If you're asking about when Srila Prabhupada visited, those particular tulasi trees were in pots, large pots. They were actually made. So the devotees made pots. They're four-sided. They're about maybe 6 feet across, and maybe 4 or 5 feet high. So those were planted in pots. But we also had outside some planted in the ground. So she seems to do better in the ground, I think. She actually does better in the ground. The only problem is that sometimes we get really cold days occasionally, and if she's in the ground, we can't move her inside. So that becomes more complicated. But to answer that question.
Had a very interesting personality. Very highly intelligent, sarcastic, kind of humor.
Yes. Yes, Srila Prabhupada was very attractive in so many ways. He had a very innocent mood. He was not sophisticated in that sense. Yes, he was very special personality for those who had a chance to be with him. But even those who didn't have a chance to be with him directly or very much, because most devotees didn't. There's a lot of devotees in ISKCON who had maybe 5,000 disciples by the end. Some disciples never even saw Srila Prabhupada physically. But we can understand much more about Srila Prabhupada now, because we can read books like this, the Srila Prabhupada Lila Amrita, accounts from devotees who were with Srila Prabhupada. There are so many biographies of Srila Prabhupada been written now, and we can, if you read Srila Prabhupada's letters, in so many ways we can understand much more about Srila Prabhupada now than anyone, even those who had close association with him then, could understand then. He was not. It was not like a one-dimensional or two-dimensional personality. Srila Prabhupada was. You could. Many devotees had many experiences, and they learned a lot of things from Srila Prabhupada, and we're still learning from those who had personal experience. I had personally very little personal direct experience with Srila Prabhupada. Personally, I more was serving in separation, more or less. Just doing my service. Even when Srila Prabhupada visited the Miami temple, I was pretty much in the kitchen all the time. I hardly saw him at all, except for Bhagavad Gita class at night, because the kitchen was was in a separate building from the where the deities were. So I had to pass by with the offering. So I saw Srila Prabhupada for a moment giving the class. He gave Bhagavad Gita class 3 nights. Chapter 13, verses 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 and 2 are together with the same purport. So he gave those lectures on those 3 days in the evening under the banyan trees. And yeah, it was very nice. And before we sat down, before Srila Prabhupada came, well, there were a lot of trees, and there was no grass there. I mean, it was pretty much like dirt, ground, and there were a lot of leaves because those trees dropped a lot of leaves. So there were leaves all over the place, and actually the devotee, knowing that Srila Prabhupada was going to sit outside because he moved his Vyasasan outside under the banyan trees. He spoke outside at night. So knowing that he was going to speak outside, devotees, temple management, arranged, okay, we're going to spread since there's no grass, we're going to spread leaves everywhere. So the devotees could sit on the leaves rather than on the direct dirt, because there's no grass. So Srila Prabhupada, he was taken on tour around the grounds, temple grounds, and he said, "Why are all these leaves here?" He says, "The leaves will attract insects. So many leaves, so many insects will be here." And he said, "Well, because there's no grass." He says, all your neighbors here have grass. You can't plant grass here." So anyway, the leaves had to be cleaned up and sat there without anything proper to sit on. But anyway, the devotees were happy to hear Srila Prabhupada give his little class at night. And what else? Srila Prabhupada, in one of the classes, as I heard as I was walking by, he said, you have all come to this Krishna consciousness movement because of prasadam. And then he spoke to the temple president at that time, and he said, "Isn't that right?" And he gave the name, but I won't mention the name here because I don't know if I should. But yeah, he asked, "You've all come because of prasadam," which is true. Prasadam is an important factor. Everyone likes prasadam, milk sweets, and things like that. That's a very big consideration. If we have, when everything else falls apart, if there's nice prasadam, and back in those days, around that time, we had our Sunday feast where big. We actually had 20-course feast. It'd take us 3 days to put the Sunday feast together. Yeah, that was our Sunday feast. It was a big endeavor. There's nothing you can do in 2 hours on the time before the feast. We started making things, sweet rice 2 days before, gulab jamuns 3 days before, and something maybe the day before, and then of course from morning until middle of the day, everyone in the temple was involved in putting the feast together, and then and by the middle of the afternoon, I think our program was a little bit earlier than it is here, but before that time, the kitchen had to be cleaned up, everything had to be cleaned, and then we did the feast. But I remember we advertised a 20-course feast, and it was actually a 20-course feast, very nice, opulent, very opulent feast. So you could be a little austere during the week, but you knew that on Sunday you're going to really enjoy. So like that. So it was a nice time. Okay, I think I have to go into other duties now. So we'll end here for today. Tomorrow will be Srimad Bhagavatam again, verse 14, 8th canto, 4th chapter, 14th verse. Requesting anyone who has a chance to check these verses and purports out ahead of time, do so. It makes the classes more interesting, and it gives a chance for thinking of questions that might be we can discuss in the class. So we'll end here. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Oh. No, I just saw. I saw another question was here. So it's okay then because mine are getting huge. The Tulasi. If you have a place in the ground that you can plant, then you can certainly do that. Certainly. Only problem sometimes is if you we might get a day in Miami, we might get a day or two in the year that it gets really cold, and Tulsi Devi doesn't do well under 50 degrees. So there needs to be some way of keeping her a little bit warm if she's planted outside. But other than that, there's no problem that I'm aware of. Okay.